Yeah, to not let your diagnosis stop you from living your life. Never give up on your dreams and continue pursuing your passions. Just because you may have been diagnosed recently or maybe young like me, like myself, your diagnosis shouldn't stop you. Because if I can do it, then anyone can do it. And I have pushed myself to do a lot of things, even with my health deteriorating. I don't want to give up on life and just live at home. I want to show the world that to be the voice of others.
Hi, I'm Leanne Watson. I'm so happy to have you here on our podcast talk show, You, Me and Muscular Dystrophy. I'll be asking 10 questions of each guest, exploring the humanity and experiences of living with MD. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome back to You, Me and Muscular Dystrophy. And I am chatting with another incredible and interesting individual. We come to you from the Indigenous Kulin Nations, Wadawurrung and Wurundjeri Woiwurrung peoples land. Tugba, who I have with me, has congenital muscular dystrophy. She's an avid traveller and travel writer and works as a CRM database coordinator with the MDA, which is Muscular Dystrophy Australia. Welcome to You, Me and Muscular Dystrophy.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. I really appreciate your time. So, first question, what is congenital muscular dystrophy and what has living with this meant for you?
So congenital muscular dystrophy is basically the deterioration of the muscles. So I was diagnosed when I was 6 months old, and I have been wheelchair bound my whole life. And my life has basically been like navigating with the condition and working my way around it. Yeah.
And does it affect all your muscles?
Yes. So over the years, my muscles have deteriorated, especially my leg muscles and my arm muscles. It also affects my organs as well. So my breathing capacity has weakened. I'm going to start like a CPAP machine soon because of course it's affected my sleeping. I tried to maintain it by going to hydrotherapy and physio, but there is no like a cure for it. But it's just basically maintaining and not allowing it to get worse.
Yes, that's good. And I think that's the way most of us sort of have to be with our dystrophies, don't we? Is just sort of maintaining, what we've got and being as healthy as we can with it. And is congenital muscular dystrophy similar to the other types in that your progression rate is unknown?
Yes.
Yeah. And so were you walking at all as a
No.
child?
So at 6 months, I wasn't able to do the normal things an able-bodied person could do. So then I had to go visit the doctors and hospitals, and they did like a biopsy, and it was then determined that I had congenital muscular dystrophy.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. And going back to your breathing, is that a CPAP or a BiPAP machine you're going to go on?
I think it's a CPAP machine.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Or it's
No.
actually the NIV machine.
Yes.
So they said it's very similar to a CPAP.
Yeah, probably similar to what I've got. The only reason I asked that, not to correct you so much, but I'm just interested with dystrophies. I've had to learn because I've got a night BiPAP machine, which is a non-invasive ventilator as well. And
Yeah.
it's different. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of people that don't, even medical people that don't know the difference between a CPAP and a BiPAP. And CPAP is more for people who have sleep apnea and, sort of it's more to do with their throat breathing, I think. And
Yes. It's
whereas
true.
BiPAP, I'm assuming yours is needed similar to mine, is because our lung muscles aren't strong enough to breathe for us, kind of thing, to
Yes.
make the
Yes, so
movement.
the doctor said that I would only need it when I'm sleeping, as I have mild sleep apnea, so, yeah, it's going to hopefully make my sleep better.
Yeah, great. Good. I'm sure it will. I can attest to that. And so when you were young, well, I guess, this is an interesting one, seeing as you knew from, pretty well from your conscious years that you had a disability.
Yes.
What did you imagine your future would look like? Has this vision changed much as CMD has impacted you?
Yes. So as you said, I was diagnosed quite young. So I already was aware of that I had a disability and that my life will be different from other people. I did live in my own little, like, I've always accepted myself in a wheelchair. I never thought, what if? And what if I was different? What would happen if my life was different? So I've always looked at life in a very positive way. And because during my school years and my early adult years, I was like in and out of hospitals a lot, and I had a very scheduled life, so there wasn't anything exciting happening. And during COVID, I realized that I needed a change. I wanted to change my purpose of life. So because every day was the same for me, Leanne, and I wanted to be more successful and more independent in my own life. So I realized that I would need to do some things in my life to change. So during COVID, as you know, we were all like stuck at home. So I slowly like planning what I would do once the borders would open. So with my support workers, I traveled domestically, then slowly steps, and then I wanted to try out international. This would have been a very big step for me because it's the first time I've been out of Australia without my parents and just my support workers. So it was very nerve-wracking, but also very exciting as well.
Mm,
So, yeah, and also, like, with being in a wheelchair, it's not easy booking these holidays, you know?
yes, I do
It's
know.
not like yeah. So it's like, talking to the airlines, talking to the, different countries, and because every airlines has a different set of rules and regulations that they follow, you have to abide by their rules. So I had to stick to one airline, so it was easier for me to understand what I had to do, and every time I went on a plane, I had to go through the same things with the forms and the doctors, and because my wheelchair is basically like a part of me. I cannot travel or go anywhere without my wheelchair. I needed to take that with me, but most airlines weren't accepting it as it was quite heavy. I think above the weight that they're used to carrying in the plane. So they needed like extra documentation and all this stuff. So it was very lengthy, but I didn't give up. I wanted to push myself and I wanted to see the world basically because if I don't do it, then you know, then no one else will. And I just I just wanted to see the world and travel. And I did it and with some tears and some anger towards the airlines.
Yes.
But thankfully, despite all that, I went and I had a lot of fun wherever I went. So it was really good.
Oh, it's so worth it in the end, isn't it? And
Yeah,
perhaps you were able to get even more out of the experience because of the hardship that you had to go through to
yeah,
get there to begin with. Not only was it fantastic that you could advocate for yourself enough and be strong enough to keep maintaining, like pushing and pushing to be able to go overseas, but you've joined other people who have kind of been demanding that we have equal rights, that we have equity in travel, and hopefully that will help the airline and other airlines. Maybe it's a slow process, isn't it? But
hopefully, yeah.
there's a few campaigns around with airlines now, isn't there, trying to make flights for people with disabilities to stay in their wheelchair on the flights, and
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
be amazing, wouldn't it? So how did you find the transfers with, like, actually in the plane itself? From my memory, the last time that I travel, and I don't anymore because it's just unsafe and uncomfortable for me completely, but they leave you at the gate, don't they, in your wheelchair,
Yes,
like
yes,
down the sort of at the end of the tunnel, the walkway, and then they transfer you to an aisle chair. Is that what happens to you?
yes. So my support workers So I have a transfer board which I take along with me wherever I go, and they left me at the gate with my wheelchair, and my support workers had to transfer me from the aisle chair, and then from the aisle chair to the plane chair, basically. And I used to just sit there the whole plane ride. I wasn't able to use the bathrooms because they weren't accessible enough. As you know, the plane bathrooms are very small, even for a able-bodied person. So I just you know wasn't able
We,
to go to the bathroom.
yeah, yeah, we find ways, don't we, with
Yeah, we do.
get around that sort of thing. But it's pretty awful. And one of them, a lot of people end up just not eating or drinking the whole flight, which is a terrible way. Flying
Yeah, but
dehydrates you
like
anyway.
that's what I do. Like I don't eat or drink, so I
Yeah,
don't have to go to the bathroom. Yeah,
yeah, which
it's
is
just I think it's a struggle that we have to go through to be able to get out of the country and just fly in general.
yeah, that's just brilliant that you've been able to be able to do that. And you've gone to some incredible places, Dubai, Turkey.
Yes, so I've been to Dubai, Turkey, I've been to Singapore and to Korea as well. So yeah,
And which is the most accessible place, do you think?
oh Dubai, definitely Dubai.
Dubai, okay. I've heard Singapore is pretty accessible as
Singapore
well.
is pretty accessible. Yeah, Dubai and Singapore is very accessible because Dubai is a very, how can I say, updated country with all the technology
Mhm.
and knowledge of the world. It was very easy access within everything. Everything was with ramps or flats, and they were very understanding of
Lovely.
us as well. So it was really lovely.
So the attitudes as well were
Yeah.
very easy to
And yeah,
yeah.
and there's also, I'm not sure if you read it in the blog that I wrote, but there it's, the word, like, it's not disability. It's, oh my gosh, what was that?
You did say
Sorry,
something.
I just lost it.
Yes, yeah, I did too. There was something in your blog. I'll put a link to your blog at the bottom of the
Yes.
show notes for other people to read. And sorry, I can't remember either. My memory's pretty rubbish. But anyway, I did read it, but so they don't call it accessibility. They
Yes, they're very aware of it, and it was very lovely to see that it wasn't just they just put a ramp for the sake of it. They actually understood
and
what we needed, which was very lovely.
we need a few people from Dubai to come over to
I
Australia,
think
don't
so.
we? And try and snap the tokenism out of all our businesses and
Yeah.
hospitality areas. All right. So you imagined your grown up life. You didn't expect to be traveling because, as you said, you were just sort of growing up in your own little bubbles sort of thing. And COVID was the one that, brought you to wanting to get more out of life.
Yes.
Is there anything you wish you knew when you were diagnosed that you've learnt since?
Um. Well, since I was diagnosed when I was 6 months old, I didn't have much conscience then.
Yes. Maybe from when you were conscious.
Yeah, but when I was conscious, I think um, not waiting until COVID to begin exploring and becoming independent, because COVID was what, I think, like 5 years ago. So I was like 22 or 23 years old. So until then, I would have been able to start working earlier, maybe, or exploring more. But it's okay. This is life, and we learn
Yeah.
as we go. So I'm very grateful with where I am right now.
Great, that's good. And yeah, that's what they say, don't they? We're all supposed to be where
Yeah,
we are right now is where we're supposed to be.
yeah, exactly.
Yes. So, well, we may have already covered it then, being your COVID sort of epiphany being a very pivotal moment for you. Would you say that has been your most pivotal moment, or have there been others?
It has been, but also realizing that I can do it. Traveling internationally without my parents, as I said, was a very big step for me. So succeeding in that was very important, and also becoming a financial independent person has been a very big thing, because until I started working, I was relying on my parents, and I wanted to be able to become an independent person financially, and just be more successful in life, and to be able to help out my parents as well with my earnings. So starting work at MDA, I think just about a year ago, was a very huge step for me, and I was really excited to start. And honestly, in the end, like, I really enjoy it here. The staff, we're literally like a family. Yeah, they're very understanding of me. They support me in all my work and decisions, and we're just really close, and we have a lot of fun. And we, as a team, especially me with lived experience, I love being able to help others and just to be the voice of them. And MDA has supported me in sharing my story and my knowledge with my condition. So I think that would be my most pivotal moment, I would say.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And I've met a few people now, a few of you from MDA. I interviewed Kath Stace when I was on the radio last year, and she's just wonderful.
She is,
But
yeah.
she's got such a great spirit, and I could see that her management style, the leadership
Yeah.
style, would be fantastic. And I'm so happy for you to work in such an inclusive and joyful
Yeah.
workplace.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Where do you find your hope and joy?
I find my hope and joy spending time with my family and support workers. I see my support workers every day because they look after me with it's like shift work. They've been with me through for a long time, so we become very tight friend group, and we have a lot of fun. We go traveling together, and we just go out in the city. And I really feel like I can be myself with them, and they always support me, and they've helped me to become my own person, which was really important for me. So yeah, probably my friends and my
That's
family.
lovely. How many support people do you have? Or would you call them friends now?
Friends, I call them friends. But yeah, I think around like 6. Yeah,
Great. Yes. Yeah, that's good too. Uh, I, eh, my kind of way of looking at that too is to sort of have a few around you. So, it's easy. You're not sort of one of you doesn't get sick of the other if you've only got
exactly.
on the go or people need holidays, all the rest of it. So
Yeah.
that's lovely to have a great group like that. So, well, the next one is then who couldn't or wouldn't you want to live without? And
Probably my parents, because they've been with me, of course, my whole life, and they've been with me through all my hard times, all the times I've spent in hospital, in and out of hospitals, my surgeries, and they've always had my back and supported with me with all my life decisions. And I wouldn't be where I am without them. So probably my parents.
that's beautiful. Do you have siblings, Tuba?
Yes, I do. I have 5 siblings,
Gosh, another big family.
and I'm the youngest as well. So
Okay. Gosh. Okay, yeah, so the last one and yeah, that's lovely. So you've got a big family to look after you then being the youngest, the baby as well.
yeah, the princess.
Well, that's really lovely though. So you'd probably have plenty of nieces and nephews by now, I imagine.
Yeah, I do. I think around like 6 or 5.
Okay.
I
That
lost count.
makes that makes for fun family get-togethers, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
when it's a big family, we all come together, it becomes very fun and chaotic.
Yes, I'm sure. What device or gadget makes your life easier?
I would say the wheelchair that I'm sitting on right now.
Yeah.
Without the wheelchair, I won't be able to move around and do my everyday things. Also, the transfer boards that I mentioned before, it's
Oh, yeah.
helped me a lot, especially internationally,
Mhm,
as they do not have the right equipment there for transferring me to other furnitures or to the
mhm.
bathroom. So the transfer board has and it's lightweight as well, so I just put it behind my wheelchair and it just comes with me wherever I go.
Great. And you've never lost it in your travels? The transport
Actually,
board
I
or
did.
I just thought,
I had to
it doesn't
go.
matter how much you secure things sometimes
Yeah,
if it's that
we
lightweight.
forgot it at the airport bathroom, and then when we went past customs, we were like 5 minutes away from the hotel. Mind you, the hotel is like an hour away from the airport. We then realized we didn't have the transfer board, so we had to go back and get it, and we had to go past customs again. So they were holding the passport, so they just like, "Why do you wanna go back?" You know? They were quite
Yeah.
confused why we wanted to go back, and then we're trying to explain, "Look, our transfer board is there," but thankfully, it was still there the way we left it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite
Perfect.
scary at the moment, but now it's funny to tell.
Yeah, and it does really show just how absolutely essential all our little bits
Yeah,
of and pieces of equipment are to
definitely.
us.
Definitely.
What is your advice to other people newly diagnosed?
Yeah, to not let your diagnosis stop you from living your life. Never give up on your dreams and continue pursuing your passions. Just because you may have been diagnosed recently or maybe young like me, like myself, your diagnosis shouldn't stop you. Because if I can do it, then anyone can do it. And I have pushed myself to do a lot of things, even with my health deteriorating. I don't want to give up on life and just live at home. I want to show the world that to be the voice of others. So yeah, and also there is no excuse to not be happy in life. You should always find a reason to be happy.
I really like that advice. That's really beautiful. Yes, yeah, that's really wise and lovely. Do you, speaking about being happy, Dubai was the most accessible. What do you think out of the countries you visited have kind of made you the happiest, I guess? Or have you,
Well,
had the happiest time? Yeah.
South Korea has been on my bucket list for a very long time. And
And why is that?
because I love the Korean culture and the food and the Korean music, I'm really into it. So being able to visit there was a dream. But now that I have visited, it was really fun. Even though it wasn't as accessible as I hoped it would be,
This
I
is
still
Leanne. Thanks
managed
for your time in
to
listening
to
to
do
this
it, and
podcast, You, Me,
it was
and
really
Muscular
fun.
Dystrophy. To continue to help our community,
What
about
about
it would be
Turkey?
so great
How
if you
was
could
that?
like,
What parts
share,
of
subscribe,
Turkey did you go
and
to?
or
Turkey, so
comment
I
on the
went
show.
when I was
Your
younger with
feedback
my
is always
family, and
appreciated.
Turkey,
And if you would
unfortunately,
like to be
even
a
though it's my
guest,
home country,
please
it's
contact
not
me through
very
Instagram,
accessible. It's quite
Leanne's
difficult to go
underscore
with
wheel
a power
underscore
wheelchair,
life,
so
or
I had to
email
go with
Leanne
a
at
manual wheelchair, and even
leanneswheellife.com.
then, it was very
Take care until
difficult
we
for
come
my
together
parents
on
to
the
push
next
me around.
episode
The
of You,
footpaths
Me, and
and
Muscular
just like
Dystrophy.
the roads in general were not flat; they were very bumpy, and it wasn't because it was like this, like cracks everywhere. Even if there was a ramp, I couldn't get up the ramp. It was too steep for the
Gosh.
wheelchair.
Yeah, they
So
had no idea of the gradients and things. Yeah.
no, and because Turkey has a very strong history, they've left all the architectural buildings as is. So around all those places, they're not accessible at all. It's been, I think, the last time I went was 2016 or 18, one of the two. And back then it was very hard. So unfortunately, I can't go back because I can't do it with a manual wheelchair as, um, it's very hard to push and also it takes away my independence.
Mm.
But with the power wheelchair, it's nearly impossible to go. And it also is, expensive to hire a wheelchair taxi or wherever. So
Yes,
unfortunately,
definitely.
even though I love Turkey, I'm not able to go.
How did you find hiring? You were saying Dubai is so much more accessible, and talking about the cost of rental of an accessible taxi, was that more expensive over there too?
Yes, it was a bit more expensive, but it was a lot easier to book than
Okay.
than I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's really great.
And the accessible rooms in the hotels, normally, you might know, they say they're accessible, but they're not actually as accessible as you
Yeah.
need it. So, but that one, the one I went to, it was really good. It was very spacious and yeah.
And had everything we need, rolling showers and plenty of
Yeah,
space around the
definitely.
toilet and
Yes.
roll-in under basin sink, and yes. And do you need a hoist for transfers?
Yes, I do need a hoist, and that's why, of course, I can't, like, take my hoist everywhere. That's why I took the transfer board, which helped more.
Ah, yes, of course, yeah. So that's when the bed height comes into play as well, doesn't it? Having the right
Yes,
bed height and the right clearance and that sort of thing. So, yes, there's a lot to think about, as always, when you're traveling or even just living day to day, really.
Yeah.
So, what is your next country? Where are you? Is your next plan?
I want to visit like Japan, but I also want to go back to Dubai as well. So I'm stuck between the two.
Good, lovely. Well, they're two pretty good choices.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you haven't seen all of Dubai yet either.
No, it's very big.
Yes, yeah, there'll be plenty of other beautiful things to see there for sure. You've written the blog on your travels, which is on the MDA website. Have you been doing any more writing? Is that sort of where
Yes,
you're
so recently we sent out, work-wise, we sent out the October newsletter and I designed that and written it all up. So that was all me. So
great?
if
Good on
anyone
you.
sees it,
Good
yeah,
on you.
that was from me.
It's looking really schmick. Are you doing
The
the socials now too? I really like the
we have a marketing team and I'm working in the marketing team as well, so that we have like a team that works together. So we'll help each other out with the socials.
yeah, that's really good. So it's primarily, yeah, you're writing for that. And so where else can we see you, Tuba, on the socials for people who want to
Well,
follow
I'm
you?
on Instagram, but I'm not posting much about, disability, which I've always hoped to be able to, like yourself, you really inspire me to open up a website or even just write blogs about my life. So I need to get onto that, and speaking to you might be my last push to do that. So
I don't want to force you to do anything, but
no,
you've
no,
got
it was really inspiring.
well, thank you. That's lovely. Everything you've been doing so far would be very valuable to so many people
Thank you.
including myself to read. Inspiring and just plain interesting.
Yeah.
Seeing having adventures and seeing other countries and going other places from, I guess, the perspective from a wheelchair, and all the things that entails, all the restrictions, the personal restrictions and limitations you have. It makes for very interesting reading and watching, I think. So, yeah, so we don't want to spruik your socials right now. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not ready.
Okay, all right. Well, stay posted, listeners,
I will.
and I'll let you know. I'll start sharing tubers and bits and pieces as they come through.
Okay.
But yeah. Well, that's lovely. Thank you so much, Tuba.
Thank
Is
you
there
for
anything
having
else
me.
you'd like me to mention or you would like to mention now?
No, I just have a message to everyone listening to us to just, as I said before, please do not give up on your dreams. Don't let your diagnosis stop you. I'm doing it. It was hard at first, but now I'm breezing through life and it's been very fun. And it's an eye opener to be able to see the world in a different perspective. So please listen to us and just live life. Don't give up.
This is Leanne. Thanks for your time in listening to this podcast, You, Me and Muscular Dystrophy. To continue to help our community, it would be so great if you could like, share, subscribe and or comment on the show. Your feedback is always appreciated, and if you would like to be a guest, please contact me through Instagram, leanne's_wheel_life, or email leanne@leanneswheellife.com. Take care until we come together on the next episode of You, Me and Muscular Dystrophy.